What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex, the podcast. The boys are here. We are ready to go. We got little ALGS stuff for you. Not too much going on right now. We're still waiting for everything to start. We'll go through the schedule here in a moment, and we have some little hypotheticals and stuff like that. But we do have a very special interview this week. We have the entire team of Tempr, the winner of PSQ number 4, the crazy one that ended with 1 point, one down away. We talked to the entire team, and I can honestly say I didn't know how that was going to go. I was a little worried about it. It went great. It was actually awesome to talk to all of those guys, and I have like a newfound rooting interest. I know it seems like every person we talk to, I have a new rooting interest, but like those guys were really, really cool. And you're going to hear a lot about like contests and their mindset with contests, which is always, I think, one of the more interesting things that goes on in this league. But we'll talk to them here in a moment. First, let's check in with E. E, how are you doing, my man?
I'm pretty tired. I just got back from a nice little drive. Back from a nice little vacay with the missus, which that was really nice. And so it's been nice to have some time off, and looking forward to getting back to work. So that's exciting. And yeah. Other than the temporary tiredness, I've got an immense amount of things to be thankful for, and this podcast is one of them. And so excited and happy that I have something that I'm like that it's something that's like worth doing, even when I would rather do like when I got home, I was like, wow, I would really just like to just hop in bed, get all cozy, and get some nice sleep. But I'm happy that I have something that I enjoy doing as much as this podcast to hop on and make happen.
Yeah, I feel the same. I was I actually had a moment. I had like a little moment. A few on New Year's Day, because like, dude, when you say you have a podcast, so many people say, "Oh, I would like to do one. You think we could do one together?" I'd be like, "I'm always down. I'm always down." Anybody who asks me, I always say like, "Yeah, what do you want it to be about?" Like, and I always ask them the questions. I always want to know, what is it about? They'll usually give me some answer like, "Oh, I think I have crazy takes on sports." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's narrow that down a little bit more, because I want to know who you actually are." And then we like talk about it, and then it always fizzles out. And then even the podcast that I do have, like, people will say like, "Yeah, I'll help you out with this, I'll help you out with that. We'll come to the show." They don't show up, or like they just ghost you on something, and they're like, "Yeah, I really wanted to help, but this happened and that happened." And it's always like, I feel like I'm always chasing my tail of like trying to make everything work. It's like the weeks from Monday to Friday go by so fast, because it's like Monday we're recording, Tuesday we're recording and editing, Wednesday recording the other show, Thursday editing, Friday having it out. So it's like the week goes by so quickly, and there's not a lot of help. I had a moment because I was thinking like, I'm so glad I found Enoch, somebody who would actually get off a 9-hour drive, hop on this fucking camera, interview some people that we don't know, make it awesome.
Well, I know Addy.
Well, you know Addy, but the other two, like, hop on, make a sick interview, and then be able to just fucking pump out pods. Like, it's very hard to find people that motivated to keep going, even when times are slow. Like, obviously, not a whole lot is going on in Apex right now. We still have some time before, we get into ALGS stuff, and the game sometimes is annoying to deal with, and all that. But I truly am thankful to have you on the show. And I didn't know what was going to happen when Finn was heading out, and I'm just happy that you stuck with me, and we're still going. Like, I just had a moment. I just wanted to say, very thankful for you. Really appreciate it, because you don't find people who are willing to do what you just did. So I really do appreciate it.
100%.
Awesome.
We're building here, man.
We're building.
This is building season.
We're building. So yeah, very thankful for that. Heading into 2024, that you got to take everything you can get. As far as my last week, it was pretty good. Didn't really do much on New Year's. I've never been like a New Year's guy. Like, I've never really seen it as like a holiday. I know other people who it's like their favorite, which is awesome. That's great for you. I just never really seen it as like a holiday. So I don't really do anything for New Year's too much. But so yeah, that was basically it. Didn't really do a whole lot. Kind of just hung out, chilled, did whatever. That basically rounds out my week. I wish I had more to tell you. I really don't. And I think what to do now is to just go straight into some of the news here, starting with the ALGS. The dates are now set, ladies and gentlemen. They are here. They are ready to go. And we'll run through them real quick. So, to start off, ALGS Split 1 Pro League schedule announcement. Here we go. January 21st is when it all starts. So, we've got a good, probably about a little bit longer than 2 weeks before this thing kicks off. So, we're going to have some time. We're going to try to get some good interviews and probably some good hypotheticals. Teams should start to solidify as well. So we will have more announcements coming up here in a little bit. But 2 weeks until Pro League is there, and then we can start getting into all the fun, juicy action. I did have one thing that comes from our good buddy Jayhawk. Jayhawk threw something out there, and before we go just straight into the interview, I would like to ask you one quick question. And this was his tweet. It said, the competitive Apex scene has so much untapped potential in terms of content. That was his tweet. What I thought was, is there anything that you would want to see more of from the competitive scene? Maybe it comes from the orgs, maybe it comes from EA and ALGS themselves, but is there like a type of content that you think they're missing out on that we could like dive deeper into before the start of season 4?
I mean, I would say that there's just so many different things that, realistically speaking, that everybody could be doing better. Like, players could be giving more in-depth breakdowns of like what it looks like to be a pro player, like the everything, like of what it, like all of like what goes on in terms of like enabling the success at the highest level. That's, I would say, some content that we haven't seen. There's not really been anybody who's taken time to like break down a lot of the things that we see going on with Apex. Like, there hasn't been any educational breakdowns of, okay, so like this is what's going on in a contest. Like, when you have these teams contesting, these are the things that you should be looking out for, stuff like that, like macro, micro rotates, just all stuff like that from an educational side of things. There's definitely been a lacking in. And so like that's an area that I myself specifically could notice and then start picking up on and doing better there. Because I could be that guy, you know, that gives us breakdowns and stuff. But then even something I think I think it was Jayhawk who commented and said that just more content that you would see in terms of like more well-established sports from like not just the pros and not just the content creators, but more of like fan generated stuff as well. I think are a lot of areas. I mean, like we kind of touched on that because like we got you right as our casual king, and so I felt like we definitely could get some more representation. We got our casual guy up in here. But yeah, I feel like when you look at Apex content as a whole, there's always room for improvement, and yeah, I just think there's a lot of different areas that we could be capitalizing.
So this is my idea that I thought of that would be really cool to watch on an ALGS stage in between games, or like when they're setting up for like new groups to get out on the stage or whatever. So they obviously do, like, if there's international teams there, they'll talk to the coaches or they'll talk to some of the players, and then they'll do, you know, some sort of like quick interview on the stage where they had like our guy Weeps talking to somebody out there. I do think it would be really, really cool because the BR format is so unforgiving and it's one of the craziest ones to deal with. I would love to see like a series of like moments. I don't even know how to call it, but like game of inches. Like, I don't know. That was the thing that I was thinking, that you name it, like game of inches, where it's like little tiny things that led to a win that could have gone the opposite way and completely chalked something up. Like we talked about the start a fight thing, right? When TSM ends up winning, like if we talk about like how close they, like if there was a video breakdown of
Like
how
the
close it
breakdown
was,
of like all of the different
yeah,
interactions that they had that could have gone south.
that could have gone
I see what you're
south.
saying.
Like that would be
That
so
lead
cool.
to
I
like a
think.
big pop off game.
Uh huh. like if you had even like something like you're watching them run through the hills of say Storm Point or something, and then you go to another angle of a team who was about to run that same direction, but maybe something made them peel off or go a different way, or like they get distracted by somebody shooting at them or something. Like those little moments, those little tiny slivers of moments that could have changed everything, that just happened to go their way. Because like the BR is obviously like you need to be good to be lucky, but there also is luck involved. And I would just love to see those little lucky moments and just kind of have those like pieced together. And I don't want it to undermine anybody's win by anything at all. But it's just crazy when you throw 20 teams into a lobby and they're all in the same spot, and they're like by round 3 they're all in like this tiny congested area. There's so many little things that probably happen that people don't see unless they're watching all angles, and this, instead of watching every angle, would just put these little angles together in this little timeline of things that could have gone the other way for them. I think it'd be so cool to watch, and it would be just an interesting, like, eye-opening thing for the fans. And it would be so cool to see. Actually, I think Jayhawk would be like hella good at doing that, but that would be so time consuming. Like if somebody signed Jayhawk is what I'm saying. Like somebody sign Jayhawk so that he can make this stuff, because he would be great at it. That's what I want to see. Little cool stuff like that. I also, going off this tweet a little bit more. This one comes from Sleepy Panda. He said, "What's everyone's thoughts on having a more entertaining or entertainment side to LANs for Apex, like how Riot does LANs where they have halftime concerts and songs made for the LANs? Would you? I've always been kind of weird about like gamer concerts, because I feel like gamers are a little different in wanting the concerts at like halftime. Like, would you want to see something like that?"
I personally, I could not care less about like a gamer halftime show type beats thing. I think it could go well, and I think that if you like incorporated like a Fortnite esque style type beat thing where you did like an end game concert that then was like on LAN or something, I feel like that would be like a way you could kind of merge it in and make it make sense a little bit. Um, but I don't know. Realistically speaking, I've never been
Never
a
cared for him.
halftime care. Like even like the Super Bowl halftimes, like
Yeah.
I've never been like a, oh dude, can't wait to watch it. Like I
Yeah.
just don't care.
So like I think what you said would actually be a good way to do it. Like while the finals are going on, there's like an in-game event happening in casuals, or yeah, probably casuals in like Apex, where you can kind of like, I don't know, maybe how it shows the scoreboards of like while you're playing Apex of like who is the kill leader in whatever game you're in or something, and it kind of like flashes their name on the LCDs. Maybe the LCDs are playing like a flashback moment, or they have like, I don't know if they can make the actual live game go on while they're in there, but I think that would be like interesting to get people like, what the hell is this? And then you figure it out. Like there's, maybe a casual who isn't really on Twitter or doesn't really know about ALGS. They get to see something like that. I think that would be kind of cool. I think doing something more like, okay, the video that they do with like Hal and Sweet every year, where they kind of like parent like go up, they're in a rivalry. They do more stuff like that with more names around the league. I think that would be like really, really cool. I think with the dojo in there, with It's Timmy there now, a big opportunity for that opens up. Like that's a big name. That's a guy who like you would want to see in like a cool little video. If the tripods were to have made it in, I think Nick would be like a person for that. But you could also make your own names with some of these guys. Like if there's guys like Monsoon, who didn't they show him like he like created a song last time, something like that, put more stuff out.
Monsoon,
Yeah,
he has the song.
yeah. So like do more stuff like that. Going to like, I think Apex could do a much better job of that like in the future. I would love to see that. I saw Jayhawk's tweet and I thought that was like a really good opportunity to talk a little bit about other things that you would want to see. But I think video series is the best way to do it. If ALGS had like different video series, not just player profiles, like let's talk about this guy, where he came from and stuff. That, what they could do for that? They could sign like a podcast, maybe. Like, I don't know. maybe like two guys who have a podcast together who like talk about ALGS and like Apex and interview these guys, and maybe like they bring those two guys in, and like those two guys, maybe one of them's trying to get into comp, and then one of them has like 1 kill, 2 knocks in like a very competitive environment. Like they bring those two guys in to interview these guys for them for the player profiles. I don't know who I picture, like maybe I don't know, like I see a guy with a backwards hat maybe being in there, and then like a guy with like some longer hair. You get like the guy with short hair, guy with long hair type thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
One
would
with
be
glasses, one without glasses. Really, just cover all of our bases.
yeah, just like I don't know. There's probably some podcasts out there like that would be really really good at that type of thing, but I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas at the wall here. But yeah, that'd be cool, and then maybe get some more video series other than just player profiles, because a lot of those people, they already watch their streamer, they already know everything, right? So it's like we get more in-game stuff. That would be so cool to kind of see more of that stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up a little bit before we get into this interview. Do you guys have any ideas? I would love to see what you guys have to offer. Now, here's my biggest thing going into the year of 2024. I want to be way more active in the Apex Discord server. I want to be way more active. I want to be talking to everybody in there a lot more going into 2024, getting a lot more ideas, all that different kind of stuff. So, if you have an idea for what you would like to see on the broadcast, send it in there. I'm going to be in there. I'm making sure I'm turning on my notifications for Discord. I don't care if my phone dies earlier. That might benefit me anyway, as much as I'm on the damn thing. So I'm going to be on there. I'm going to be in the Discord checking your answers. I want to see what you guys think would make the broadcast better, would make ALGS better going into year 4 as far as entertainment goes. Shout out Jayhawk for the tweet. Basically just stole his tweet, made a whole segment about it. Shout out Jayhawk. What a guy. What a guy. Somebody
Shout
sign
out
him.
Jayhawk. What
Somebody
a
sign
legend.
him, please. Please. Okay, ladies and gents, let's throw it on down to our interview for the first time ever on the show, a full team interview with Tempr. All three of those guys, they're all awesome. We loved having them on. We got to get Cloaked back on. He didn't say enough. And then at the very end, he drops a bomb on us that he's still in high school and also competing in pro league. So I want to get him back on so I can talk to him one-on-one, get to learn a little bit more about him. But let's hit a quick ad. And on the other side, Team Tempr. All right, here we are, ladies and gents. For the first time ever on the Apex, the podcast, we have a full team interview here. Every single member from Team Tempr, the final qualified team for preseason qualifier number 4, they won in dramatic fashion. They won in a crazy fashion, but they are all here today. We've got Adiavant, we've got Unreal Cloaked, and we've got Call Spades. Everybody, how are you guys doing today? How is everybody feeling?
I'm feeling good, man.
Doing good.
Feeling really good.
Same here.
Another day,
Really good.
another day to look forward to, and that's all I can really ask for, honestly.
There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Now, we're probably going to trip over each other a little bit here, so bear with us. But this is our first time trying it out, and I think it's something we want to try a little bit more in the future with some of these newer teams coming in the scene. But I guess I'll kick it off here with Addy, my man. We just went through a debacle. I think this debacle bonded us for a good long while of trying to get your camera to work. We finally got it. We've been in this room trying to get this thing for about, I'd say 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I've never seen somebody so intensely ready to make their camera work. You finally found a way. You found a way to get this thing on the screen. And I think what that shows to everybody out there is your dedication to just excellence. And somehow that translates to you being a pro player in Apex. So I want to start there. You guys obviously just got in, scraped in by the skin of your teeth, but you guys made it. How has that commitment to excellence been for so long? Because it's been, I think for you, like this is kind of the first time making it into this spot. How are you feeling moving into this next phase of your Apex career?
Honestly, it's not more so overwhelming as much as it is relieving. at least for me, I've been playing comp for a very long time, so finally making it to Pro League was such like a relief on my heart and my head. Like going through all those struggles through all those years and all that effort that we put in finally paying off. And I really can't say anything other than I'm more than excited to see what's left in the store for me and Spades and Cloak. Like it's really just an exciting feeling. Um, I have no words to really describe it. All I want to do is show people how passionate and how ready we are to perform in Pro League.
That's awesome, man. And I'd like to hear from all of you on this one a little bit, at least from your perspective on what exactly went down. But for everybody here at home, in that final moment, we're all thinking like we think that it's going to be the tripods because they had a really good showing in the final 2 games.
Yeah.
We think that, but there's also like you guys were hovering around. We're like, did they get enough? Like it was kind of a weird feeling, and then they finally flashed the name on the screen, and I think for everybody watching, it was like a moment that you're going to kind of remember as far as like Apex competitive goes, because it was so wild to see how that thing ended. When you guys saw your name flash on the screen, like what was that feeling like? And did you already have the points calculated beforehand, or did you kind of just go off of what the stream was giving you?
So Addy is he's the brains of the group, right? He can, that man picks up math so quick, right? So he knew, like, once I said we got 17 points, like he already like was on the leaderboard just like checking how many points we got, and like if we go back to my VOD, like you can like barely hear him like scream, like he got way too excited, like he got excited way before like me and Cloak did. Like me and Cloak were still adding the scores up, and he just knew off the bat like we made Pro League, and like then me and Cloak then realized like once the Battlefy uh, uh, website popped up with the scores updating when it updated, that's when we knew we got first, and then we just went ballistic after that.
Cloaked?
Yeah, so just going into that final game, same thing. You could go into his VOD. When we were in the dropship, literally the second we got in, I said, boys, after this game, we are in Pro League. We're getting a 30-point game here. We're in Pro League. And it just, that moment, seeing us at the top, it just felt good because of how much work we put in the past 4 to 5 months. And it just felt nice to see that all that work paid off.
And Addy, for you, I know they said you had kind of calculated, you had already known, but there had to be like that weird feeling of like it still has to show up first before, like when you finally saw and it was confirmed that you guys were in. Like, what was that feeling like?
Yeah, my stomach kind of sank, but like in a good way. I knew it was like really just up to us and tripods, because we were talking about it the entire last game once we saw all the other teams who got eliminated, that it was just us and tripods. So after I saw them die and I saw what we placed and how many kills we got, it felt like I had a good sense in my gut that we made it. But the moment I saw that score on Battlefly just switch to us winning by 1 point, I jumped out of my seat, just completely flabbergasted that that's how close it was. I was jumping all over the place, man. I was about to do jumping jacks. Like it was, I don't even know how to explain how that felt, seeing how close we were. And then we also ended up watching Tripod's VOD to see what went wrong on their end, and to see that they were so close to beating us by just getting a simple finish on a knock was absolutely insane.
I do
Just
think it was like a
smallest
28, like 20 HP left on the thirst.
Yeah.
20 HP on the
He had
thirst.
68
And
flesh on that
had they
thing.
gotten it, it would have made all the difference. One thing I was really proud about towards the end was we fixed all the issues we had like the past 3 weeks, especially the main issue of us not finishing knocks, which is what we made sure to do the entire last week. We had gotten knocked out one of the weeks because we simply just didn't finish one knock. And so for the entirety of that week, we promised that no matter what kill we got, we would finish a knock. And in finals, that ended up being huge for us.
That is crazy. That's like a full circle moment. It's like, this is the thing we're struggling with, and that thing that you needed to work on ended up being the thing that sent you in to Pro League. That's actually like a perfect moment. For people who don't know what you guys are all about, can you guys run through how you guys came to form as like a team, and when this all kind of came together, and now like getting to where you guys are now, like that chemistry that you guys have together?
You want to go first or?
Yeah, I mean, I could go first. Yeah, honestly, I haven't known Addy. Like, I followed Addy on Twitch probably like right before I switched to PC. I was like on console for the whole time, like playing like in pred ranked all that. But like I switched to PC, and then like I always like followed him, and then like there was, I think it was like season 15, season 16. Like Cloaked introduced me to Addy. I don't know the story behind like how them meeting up, but I just know Cloak introduced me to Addy, and then they like a couple like CCs went by, right? We haven't played, and then like the season, I think it was season 16. Season 16 where me, Addy, and Cloak were talking about like just pred grinding and stuff and whatnot, and then this last year, beginning of last year of 2023, like February when the first CC started. Um, Addy had a team already. He was playing with some other two guys, and then uh, me and Cloak were together. We made finals that week or one of the weekends, and then after that break between that CC into this PSQ the PSQ that we just played, me and Cloak were LF1ing the whole time, and this is about the time that me and Addy were like starting to play like ranked, but not as much, and we have a really good friend that knows Addy IRL in real life. So I talked to him about like, hey, what do you think do you think Addy will fit in with me and Cloaked? And he was like, yeah, like let's try to get that going. And so I was like, yeah, bro, like if you can like throw in a word for me and Cloaked, like we have what it takes to be a good team. Like I trust Addy. Like I've seen him play. Like his micro is insane. His macro is insane as well. Mainly his micro. Like his micro is just really good. Um, it's above anyone else. And then just he threw in a good word, and next thing you know, we got together in a call. Next thing you know, we're playing scrims. Our we went really good. The first scrims we played in, we pretty. I think we got like what top three, top two, or like top three for sure. We got top three, and then
Yeah, yeah,
and that's how it started. You know, that's all she wrote.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. I think I got introduced to space through a mutual. Then, like, while I was going through multiple teams. I was trialing with multiple teams during CC and trying them all out. But I never really had a click or like a lock on with them. Like, I never felt like we were chemistry mixed well. And so I ended up telling Spade just, hey, like I'm gonna give this team a shot, but if this doesn't work out, I'm 100% down to team up, and we just commit no matter what. Like, and then that team didn't work out. I got an offer to join another team, but I just stuck with my word for Spades, and we ended up talking about our like our ideas and what we had as a future in playing Apex, what similarities we had, and we found out we were pretty close to the same ideas and plans we had for a career in Apex. So I feel like that really helped us all click immediately. And like Spade said, I think on our first scrim we placed top three, and then like for the rest of the week, I think we took first place for like the rest of the weekend.
Yeah,
We
that
placed
month
first in
we
the
were
rest of our
doing really
scrims,
good together.
Yeah, that month we
and
didn't jump
yeah,
out of top four.
from there we just agreed to deal with each other's shit. We thought we felt really great with each other. We just hammered down any issues, anything that we liked or didn't like. We talked it out. We just committed hours and hours a day to VOD reviewing, and we just went from there. And I literally couldn't complain about anything. Like I loved how everything was going, and I made sure they were cool with everything. They loved it too, and we just blew up from there. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, so you mentioned something that I kind of wanted to point at because I've never heard it before, and all the people we've talked to, and it was you guys talked about your ideas of what you wanted from Apex, like what you guys were, like your ideas, your plans, whatever it may be. I've never really heard that get talked about before. It seems like a lot of the times these teams are formed, it's like, hey, do you play Apex? Yeah, I play Apex. You want to try?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try. Like I've never heard like a team kind of go through and try to figure that out together. So like, what did that kind of entail? Was it just like a lengthy conversation about just your ideas, your goals, your plans? Like how exactly did that go?
Um, I mean, I'm a pretty big being with the team is sort of like being in a marriage. As funny as that might sound, you got to have the same ideas with like your partners, otherwise you guys really aren't going to have a bright future together. So we had the serious talk, and we all realized very early on we weren't in PL for a paycheck. We were in it for like ourselves. We wanted to prove something to each other. So that really helped because it lets you know, and it lets everyone know on the team that you're on the same pace and you're on the same idea. Like nothing's switching up. It would the chemistry I feel like would be pretty imbalanced if you had one guy who was just playing to be signed, one guy who's playing for a paycheck, one who's just playing for clout. But amongst the three of us, we all are focused on the same idea, and it's just being as great as possible to prove ourselves to each other. And that's I don't know how else to explain. That made me feel so comfortable that they were on the same page as me, and I know it made them feel comfortable that I was on the same page as them. Um, but I definitely agree with you that a lot of teams sleep on that, and that's a huge factor in whether you'll have good chemistry or not.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times what happens is, watchers of ALGS or competitive Apex will be like, this is a dream fitting for whichever player or whatever team is opening up, and they'll just be like, just strictly off of play style. But a lot of times that's not the only thing that you need to have in order for a good team to form. Like there's communication that has to happen. There has to be a good like feeling within the room. Like the vibe has to be good. And we've talked a lot about how vibe kind of dictates how people feel. Just from talking to you guys before we had even started the interview, it seemed like you guys just had like a naturally like relaxed, good vibe with one another. And I don't know if that's something that you guys have felt with other teams. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on that. Cause it seems like you guys were just like, I mean, we were cracking jokes, relaxing, doing whatever. Like that doesn't typically happen. I mean, to be honest, this is our first time ever having a full team in here. But it feels like you guys are very relaxed with one another. And I'd like to hear from each of you, like, what about if I'm looking too deep into it, or if this is really how you guys are in game.
I feel like we are very comfortable with each other, like very very just like we speak our mind. We're not afraid of what so like the other person like thinks about us, you know. So I think that's what, and like I feel like we all like kind of like share the same personality in a way, like kind of like the sense of humor and like and whatnot and stuff like that. And I think the biggest thing is just don't be like afraid of like what the other person's thinking of you, you know? Like I don't think anyone should do that because like at the end of the day, you know, we all have our own problems, you know. We deal with our own uh if it's personal problems, family, whatever it is, you know, we all deal with like the same problems in different ways. So that's what we all tend to relate to and be comfortable with each other. So like I think that's one way to look at if you're on a team, you know, a relationship, whatever it is in life. You know, I think that's one good way to go about it.
I think another thing is also just us being human with one each other, and it's a mentality thing. Like even though we're sort of here like playing in a profession, we still want to have a good time and be in the safe space. So us being ourselves and us being open kind of allows you to feel comfortable and safe with when you're with your team. So yeah, I mean, I sort of also just felt that click with Spades and Cloaked. I think the only time I've ever felt that click was with my first team that I started playing comp with, and I've never gotten that feeling until I met Spades and Cloaked again. And it's honestly a really great feeling. I think a lot of people take the game a little bit too professionally rather than being like laid back in the pro league scene, which I get. But at the end of the day, we're all just human, and we still want to have a good time when we're playing. So it's nice to like sit back and just crack jokes, and it keeps the vibes up too. Can't
Exactly.
complain about that.
Yeah.
Keeping like throwing jokes and jabs at one another, just everyone smiling, having a good time, even when we're losing. Like can't really complain.
Yeah, and I feel like if you don't keep the vibes up and you just aren't comfortable with your team, it just
Games
pressure
goes
just
bad.
builds
Yeah.
up. Yeah, games go bad, gameplay bad, everything just goes downhill from there. So as long as you are comfortable, that's really, in my opinion, that's a big factor.
Sort of what I said earlier. You got to treat it like you're in a marriage when you're in the team. Like if you can't be comfortable with them, you probably shouldn't be with them. So just be open to being yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so another thing that you guys have mentioned that you guys VOD review for hours. And so is that, would you say that you guys spend more time on that than others do? And is that one of like the main things that you guys believe sets you guys apart from other teams? Or is that just one of the many
I
factors such as your guys' like team
I think
compatibility?
it's I think it's one of the many factors. I think it's huge because we're pretty big into contesting. Um, we really like conning teams, especially for Siphon and Wall. We've never left, and we've always VOD reviewed cons like consistently over and over. It's actually kind of crazy. We like VOD review cons more than we do the actual game. Um, and I felt like that was a huge help because I think a lot of teams give up their spots, and that sort of can fuck up your rotation or your macro and your micro from what you're used to. And I felt like us constantly VOD reviewing our chows for Siphon mainly like made us feel confident in us sticking to like our plans and stuff. And though we spent like I don't even know what's I think we spent like literally 6 hours like a day just straight up VOD reviewing, just strictly just VOD reviewing. And we honestly I've never complained about it. Like it's helped us so much. It's helped us so much. We've learned so much just by spending every single minute breaking down like every single
Just
problem
different
that we've
strats,
created.
thinking about like
Yeah,
where this team is gonna position themselves, if we have nades, carry nades and stuff when whatnot, like just the little stuff, it's just little micro stuff that really helped us in the long run.
I think teams don't. I think some teams just don't break down their VOD reviews enough. Like we break down every single little thing, even if it's like a petty small issue. Like we break it down and try to refine everything. Like we try to be as perfect as possible. And I think that actually goes a longer way than people think.
So you mentioned contests specifically. What, when you guys are watching those, are you guys specifically looking to like break down? Because I mean, a lot of, I would say for most part, when people think of contests, they're just like, oh, you're just landing, you're fifting for a gun, and then you see what happens. Like, what are the specific things that you guys are breaking down in those sessions? If you don't mind sharing some of the sauce.
Um, I think the main thing is just learning how to work the building and working angles. I think the chemistry that works with us though specifically, I don't really know how we could break it. I don't even think we should break it down if we could, but um, it's just something special
That's very
with
fair.
yeah with spades and cloak. Like it's just something special. Like we've noticed amongst the three of us, we're just really good at working with teams. Like just, as long as we're on par about what we're doing, we know what angles to take, and we don't need to tell each other. Like we're just on it immediately. Um, so I feel like breaking down how you play the building with the mix of how we play with each other was it goes massive for our cons, massive. Um, yeah, I think that's literally the best thing I could say is breaking down the buildings that you're conning for.
Now, I do have some competitive experience. Got 1 kill, 2 knocks, no big deal. That's basically the extent of my competitive career. Um, didn't go well, but I did learn a few things while I was in it, and it was essentially like the people that I was playing with had like loot paths written down and different stuff like that. And I'm speaking from a casual perspective. I'm not like a pro player. I'm not very good, but I do like to ask these questions for anybody else who's kind of wondering how intensely some of these things go down. When you guys are landing for a contest, is there a specific pattern every single time that you guys are following as far as like each individual player, or does it change up based on where they're landing?
I think it's whatever we're comfortable with.
It's
I think
that
that's
it's
like the
either
biggest thing.
it's comfort, but it's also like whoever, I'm not saying, like I'm not trying to like leak some of our stuff, but like it's just basically like, you know whoever lands first, we can, adjust and adapt to it, but like basically just
Yeah,
like little stuff like that, like we don't mind. You say like we're watching a contest like in Pro League, right? And like the previous years, and like we're watching these pro teams, different strats. We kind of like switch it up a little bit. We don't stick to like what they're doing. I like contest is one building and straight in. Do that. Also depends what POI it is, but like for ours, I mean, it just depends. Like who's landing first, as some in some sense, we kind of adjust.
I also think I think a major thing is that we've like gone through the strats and like the this technique like behind contesting, like every single strategy that we can go through for our POIs, like we've gone through it so many times. It's just we're sort of just cruising through it every time it happens. Like we're just comfortable. There's no like anxiety. There's no fear. There's no like doubt about whether it's going to work or not. We just stick with it and we just go, and we just have a full set of confidence all the way in. It's like practice makes perfect. That like really boosted our ego and confidence when we con. It's doing just different strategies all the time, over and over and over, and every time we're put in the situation where we have to play it, like we know what to do without having to double think. We just do it. We get the job done.
Yeah.
Would you guys do specific contest like practice reps against other teams?
No, we're actually like pretty heavy against it because we don't think it's realistic. Like we just do like, land how you want to land and we'll figure it out. Because I think
Okay.
that's what brings the best out of you, is like when you're stressed, like when you don't know what to do. That's what I believe in anyways. Like it feels like every time that we've been in the spot where we didn't know what to do, we just snapped and figured something else and just went from there, and we wrote it down and remembered what to do in that situation. I feel like that's the best way to learn.
So it's like the inverse of like death by 1,000 cuts. You guys have kind of learned by just 1,000 different contests. Rather
Yeah.
like you guys have done it so many times that it kind of just becomes natural
Yeah,
in whichever direction you're deciding to go.
exactly.
Essentially,
Yeah.
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 And we've done like all those contests a thousand different times. So it's like, it doesn't matter how much people want to switch up. We're just always comfortable every single time.
I do think that it's interesting because you get to some of these teams that have been around for a very long time. They've never really had to contest, and when they do have to contest, you usually see them complaining about it on whichever website they
Exactly.
Yeah.
decide to complain about it. Then it's almost like it comes from a little bit of a place of like privilege. Like you've always had your spot, you've never had to worry about your spot. Whereas you guys are on the inverse, where it's like we've had to fight tooth and nail for every little inch that we want, and now you guys have just kind of gotten comfortable being bathed in the fire. It seems like
Exactly.
it's almost like you guys just
Yeah.
enjoy the contest.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
we
actually
prefer the
it's a major thing. Like I talked to them about. That's one of the biggest things we want to focus on. A lot of teams don't con practice and they don't know how to contest. Like they know how to move around the map, they know how to place themselves in the fight, but they don't know how to fight for their home. Like a lot of teams don't. And I think we showed that when we conned all our teams in PSQ, because we beat them all off. And a lot of those teams, especially very good teams, did not know what to do. Like we went through their VODs and they were lost. Um, and the time that we spent, like I said earlier, the time that we spent learning how to contest, we were like more invested into it over and over and over, and we just absolutely fell in love with it. It was actually one of the biggest reasons we qualified as well through some of the weeks, is because we always had 3 KP off drop. It was one of the biggest things we had. And yeah, like I said, a lot of teams get too comfortable, and the ones that complain about being conned are never going to solve their issues. Like I feel like every team should know how to con for their POI. Like if you're going there, you might as well learn how to fight for it.
Because it's basically
Alright,
just
so-
fight practice at the end of it, right? You're just team fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, you guys plan on challenging TSM for Siphon?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
challenging TSM. Yeah, we're actually challenging them tomorrow. We're
Should be
challenging
fun.
TSM, we're challenging Tech for Siphon, we're challenging Furia for Wall.
So you guys are really going by the bathed in the fire.
Yep.
Right there.
Exactly.
That's-
Yeah, we
Like,
don't-
literally what
we
you
don't-
said. Literally what you
Don't
said.
give a fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
we're not gonna leave for like Geyser or something.
yeah. It's just not worth.
It's
Like
it's our
I'd
home.
rather-
We've been fighting for Siphon. We're just gonna stick to it.
Exactly.
Respect.
Go ahead, Spades.
No, I was just agreeing to Addy. Like, yeah, like I'm not gonna settle for less. Like, it's not worth. Especially if you look at other teams in Pro League, the history of it, like such good teams just are landing at these terrible POIs, and they just set them up. They're setting them up for failure. At the end of the day, like it may be a good rotation, but like I'd rather fight for the best POI in the game. That I believe that's the best POI. Like it's stacked. the macro from it is insane. Like you got a balloon, you got sometimes a crafter, but you know we don't even use that crafter. Sometimes beacon. Um, it's just really good, and to put TSM into that position, like this is me though. Like when Kick chowed them at LAN, I don't think Kick had no idea how to chow that. Like I don't think they were a really good contestant team. But me, Addy, and Cloaked, two controller, one MK. This Addy's pretty much a controller player. Like in my opinion,
I'll vouch for that.
he's
I'll vouch for
actually
that.
like a controller player. Like his aim is insane. But like putting TSM, or if it's me, whoever's at LAN or not LAN, but whoever's in Pro League that's landing there, like I giving them that pressure, it's just a mental battle at the end of the day, you know. Like you just gotta have a good mental going into it, and like obviously TSM has been put in that situation, but I don't think they're gonna two teams challenge them in Pro League is gonna it's gonna do a lot to their mental, you know.
Also, oh sorry.
No, you're good, bro. You're good.
It's also like a couple other things. Like the persistency is what beats everybody off of POI. Like at some point, persistency becomes annoying, and we know TSM like very much understands that. But I mean, if you couldn't tell earlier with me trying to set up my camera, I'm a pretty persistent guy in getting what I want done. So we definitely we're not leaving Siphon. And it's also one thing I did want to make clear. It's not like anything disrespectful towards TSM or me or Furia. Like we respect the teams a lot, but how we like to play the game is conning, and they're invited to con with us. Otherwise, they can just leave.
Yeah,
it's like one or the other.
Yeah,
like they
100%.
don't have to con, but we will.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's like a valid thing to say.
Not only are you persistent, but you're crushing 4 eggs, 5 sausage every morning. I guarantee you're shitting on somebody. I guarantee it. Okay, so question with those teams, and you just said you respected those teams, and I think they know that too.
Yeah.
The fans aren't always so receptive to that. Are you guys prepared for the firestorm that's going to be on the Bluebird app?
I have my mods on deck.
Yeah, we have our mods on standby. Yeah. Like we said, like we get like the hate that's gonna come our way, but we don't really care. Like we're persistent enough to chow TSM. You think what you're gonna say is really gonna bother us or stop us?
It's like I said earlier, at the end of the day, when you lay your head on that pillow, like you're dealing with your own stuff. Like I can care less what you say on my screen, you know, in my chat. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me.
Hell
like,
yeah.
It's just at the end of the day, you just gotta have a good mental about life, you know. I'm blessed enough to understand somewhat about, you know, about like my who I am, and you know what I want as a person, and what I want for my family and stuff. So I could care less about an opinion, you know. It's not gonna affect me at all.
That's the attitude you need to have, because they're coming.
Yeah,
they are coming. Yeah. One thing I would like to ask, and I'm going to start with Cloaked here, because once again, I just love to get the psychology of the best players in the world when it comes to contesting. If you could get, because I've always, once again, casual brain here, there are some guns that I would rather drop on when I know that there's a team right there versus others, even if the others are better guns. I could just be a casual take. I don't know. But like, if you could have one dream gun to drop on and one dream grenade to have in your arsenal the second you drop getting ready for a contest, what is it for you guys? I would love to hear all of your answers, starting with Cloaked.
Okay, so for me personally, it depends, like, if it's longer range, but if we're conning for Siphon or just on a building, me personally, a Mastiff and a Thermite.
Massive and Thermite. Okay. So what about the wall? Would it change if it was the wall?
It depends. So
you guys got like 6 or 7 strats going.
Yeah, we got
a whole playbook.
It depends. It depends.
Okay, that's
but
fine.
If I had to for wool, I would probably go like an R9er car.
Okay.
Dude, a Mastiff?
A Mastiff is a crazy answer, but
he's on controller, by the way.
Yeah,
I know. I was thinking that.
Yes,
I was
sir.
like, hold on.
Yes, sir.
A Mastiff?
Just 2-pump someone real quick.
Spades?
Okay, we're all going. Okay, I'm gonna start with the grenade first, right? like an
Yeah.
actual grenade. I'm keeping a grenade because Addy knows, Cloak knows. I hit the nastiest grenades. Like
Yeah.
it's just I'm taking a nade. I don't care. Like arc is cool, right? You can stick them, but if someone's on height and you throw a grenade above them and they don't see it, and you're hitting 100, maybe two of them for 100, and they slide off the roof, whatever happens, like that, it's just huge in a fight. For the gun off rip, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take a flatline, just because
Okay.
that hip fire, like crouch spam, that hip fire is actually insane. Um, I would say Havoc, but like I think a flatline off rip is probably ideal. I mean R9 is too as well, but like I think you can't go wrong with the flatline. Honestly, like
Yeah.
it's a good start. Like especially with everyone starting with white shields, you may get an armor, but uh 150 health, a flatline will take you down probably like 7, 8 bullets or whatnot. Maybe 9. I don't know, but it's very consistent hip fire. Those are
Okay.
my go-to right there.
Addy?
I'm definitely gonna have to say 99 in Arcstar, like 100%. I'm a pretty aggressive player. Like I'm constantly chasing somebody down, and I usually use doors a lot to like when I take fights and stuff. So Arcstars really do come in clutch. Sticking people and then chasing them down with the 99 has always been like my go-to. I've been doing it for way too long.
There we go. Now here's the final question. You guys all land on the same pill. Not saying you'd ever do this. It's probably not in the strat book. It's probably not in the playbook. But let's just say, for instance, all three of you land. There is one purple shield. Who's getting it out of all three of
I'm
you?
getting everything.
Yeah,
Everything in that pill
he's
is always in my
MK.
inventory
Like
before
he's
the
just
opening.
MK. He's
Like,
grabbing
yeah,
it.
no, I outloot everybody. Like, it's not even close. By the time the pill isn't even fully opened and the loot's gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually absurd.
There we go.
Literally,
Okay.
literally.
There we
Yeah.
go. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Well, I'm really excited to see what you guys do with some of these contests in the future, and like I said, might be a little bit of a war at the start, but I
Oh
want to
yeah.
see what happens here. A lot of people too say like they'll start the contest and they'll kind of switch like relatively quickly, like they'll kind of switch off. But like you guys said, it's probably better to try, especially before Pro League starts, to kind of get this out and see what you can do before you have to land at a place like Geyser or
Mhm.
something like that, which could
Yeah.
really mess things up.
Yeah.
Moving on into a little bit more of like the micro macro. Addy, obviously, your teammates were hyping you up earlier about what you do personally with your calls and stuff like that. Was there any sort of inspiration for you, or was it just playing as long as you've played that kind of helped you form your opinions and the different strats that you use for IGL?
Um, I never really had a player I looked up to. Um, I sort of just collected things that I've like learned. I never used to be an IGL, so when I started playing with like an IGL and first getting into like the comp and rank scene for the first time, I started picking up a lot of things from all the IGLs I was playing with, and I started to learn how to put them together with what matches where. Um, and then I started using that into comp, and I just learned from there over and over and over and over. Um, there's been like some coaching lessons that I've taken, but I think only one has like really helped with my macro like ever. Um, and that mixed really well with everything else I learned. So it literally was just an experience. Like I genuinely don't think watching. I've watched like Hal and a bunch of other IGOs over and over and over, but I wanted to figure out what worked best for me. So I always took apart everybody's like plan or strategies and applied it to what would fit for me and my team. And it just came from doing it over and over and over again to figuring out what worked best.
Now, for you two, Cloaked and Spades, like as far as his IGL style, how does it appeal to you guys, and what's your favorite part about the way Addy kind of IGLs the team?
Um, Honestly, me and Addy are really similar with the way we think about the game. And that's why I wanted to play with him in the beginning when we first started playing because I realized this, and he's just we both have this we both have insane game sense to where like we can trust each other's calls. Obviously that he's the IGL, right? I'm gonna trust whatever he says, but like towards like different like rotates, right? I'm a like pick his brain a little bit and like and be like, hey, what do you think? What do you think we should do this? We should do that or whatever. Just question him a little bit. I'm trying to get an idea like where he's at and what he thinks about it. If it's good for the team, because we all have one brain. We all thinking like one thing at a time. So that having that extra brain behind that, it kind of helps because it's a lot less stressful at the end of the day, because you're thinking, oh, I have all this stress on me. I'm trying to make this call for my team, the right call. What should we do? But like having that extra brain behind that, I think it really it's it's less stressful for Addy, and I think that's why me and him work together really well. We mesh together really well. Um, but other than that, like I trust his calls 100%. Like anytime that he makes a call, I'm listening. I'm gonna listen. And obviously we dealt with this in the past about me like trying to like counter call him, but like I'm over that now, and we've learned we moved on from that. So that's my opinion about that.
Yeah, and for me, just I've known Addy, like I've known him for I want to say a year and a half. We would play ranked every now and then, and just throughout those ranked sessions, I just like saw how good he was at just microing and macroing at the same time. Like he would micro me, like, and I wouldn't even realize it. I'm not gonna lie. So it just after playing with him throughout all those ranked sessions for that year and a half, I just once we teamed up, I already had faith in him. I trusted him fully.
You got Winnie?
Yeah. So how long in your comp career did it take you to abandon the Mirage?
I think like, damn. I like originally, so like when I first actually started playing comp, I actually wasn't playing Mirage when I first started playing comp. We actually played the Caustic Gibby Valk meta, and that was actually a really good Caustic main. Um, but after I split from that team, I think it was the team after that. Like I talked to them, and we decided to all just play characters we were comfortable on, and I just obviously picked Mirage, and we actually won our first two tournaments like immediately back to back from there. So it kind of felt like the Mirage was working. Um, and then a little bit along the line, it just like it started to show that when with the meta shifting and everything, it just wasn't the play. It didn't feel like the play. Um, so I guess further down the line, I started to try to find somebody who I could match Mirage's abilities to, or at least how I play them. And I switched from like Bangalore to Horizon, and I think at that point, I think when was it? I think by when Gauntlet or Realm came around, I actually gave up Mirage, or I was starting to give him up more when Realm came around, and started locking onto Horizon a lot more from there.
And
So
then
probably
eventually
like
led into
2 years.
the Bangalore no heirloom prestige.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's something I've been. Yeah, that's something I've been telling him about.
Yeah,
That
I was grinding Horizon pretty heavy, but then literally I think after the first week of
It
PSQ,
was.
we were just like
yeah,
I'm getting off Horizon, I'm hopping on Bang, you take Horizon Spades, and I just blew up from there.
Yeah. Yeah. That I was just the most comfortable on Horizon, just like the awareness like I like when not, and like not to use like Horizon Q, and like I was just calling out just different like plays to make with Horizon, and like I just knew like M&K Bang obviously is great, but like just Addy, I told Addy, I was like, you're gonna love the double time on Bang. Like you're just gonna like with your ego with too, like you're just gonna get in their face, digi, smoke, and just one clip, or whatever you have to do to kill. Like it just worked out after
Yeah, I mentioned about playing Mirage though in LAN.
that.
I did tell chat like if we make LAN, I'll play at least one game of Mirage because everyone's actually been asking me to play Mirage at least once during Pro League. So I was like, okay, I think we can afford a game of Mirage. Like I can do that for you guys.
Yeah, I
So
feel
he
like
will be
that's
back.
fair. Like if you make it all the way to land, like that's definitely fair to pull out a Mirage. Hopefully not in like a winning situation. Like I wouldn't want
Oh
you
no,
guys to go in like match
hell
point.
no, no,
But
No.
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 They're gonna know.
Match
No.
They're
point.
gonna
Let's
know.
go, boys.
They're gonna know. All the teams.
For chat.
imagine they win that though. That'd be next level. Oh, wait, are you still rocking the? They said you were rocking no heirloom. Are you still rocking no heirloom?
I don't have an
Yep.
heirloom yet. I bought her mythic skin before heirloom. I like the mythic skin more than her.
I think we
her
have to
heirloom.
just run no heirloom the rest of the season. If it's gotten us this far, I think we got to go no heirloom the whole season. You might be the only one in the lobby with no heirloom.
I
but
actually don't really like heirlooms that much. I really like the skins a lot more. I think heirlooms just get in the way of like what you can see.
okay,
I actually
there
don't
we
really
go.
like them so much.
Perfect. Then it lines up perfectly. Okay, well, moving off of Mirage a little bit and into the next phase because you guys get out of preseason. It's locked in. You guys are in pro league. It's time to like get serious. It's time to get real. You guys are playing some of the best in the world. You're in NA. It's obviously the best region in the world. You're going up against every aspect is going to like upgrade a little bit more. Have you guys talked or had a conversation about like kind of the expectations going into this first season of pro league for you guys? Is there like has there been any sort of communication about like what to expect, maybe what to do if things don't go our way the first few weeks, like anything like that, or is it kind of just been we're waiting till it gets a little bit closer?
I mean, we've been like preemptively talking about it even before we've made PL. Like we know what to expect. So I feel like we do talk about it, but we just are still kind of relaxed and laid back on it because we feel comfortable and we're confident that we're ready to do what it takes. Not to sound like cocky or anything, but we've talked about it. We've gone through like our planning over and over and over. We still do it now, but yeah, I would say that we're prepared for like PL. Like we're taking every measurement. We're not like kidding around. Like we actually want to do our very best in PL, so we're giving it everything we've got.
And you guys feel the same?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we're not gonna take this opportunity for granted. We're gonna go 110%. 200%, whatever it is, to do our best. And I really, I believe this is our season. I mean, Addy can agree to this. Because I feel like me and Addy had couple a couple rough seasons, in our lives too, where we don't like we gotta. This is our chance to prove ourselves why we're that we deserve this spot. Why we belong in this scene and whatnot. So yeah, I mean I'm taking this blessing and I'm just gonna enjoy the ride and do my best as I can.
Yeah, I actually think you guys, you were saying, Addy, that it might seem cocky or whatever. That's kind of the attitude you guys are going in with.
Yeah.
I actually think it might be a net positive because a lot of times, like I'm a sports guy. Sometimes you'll be watching a team and it's not going well. And I'm talking about like football here, and then a backup comes in, or maybe a rookie comes in at quarterback who really doesn't understand the severity of the situation. Like they don't put in all those aspects that we would put in if we were on the field. Like it's being broadcast to millions. There's 40,000 in the stadium right now. They kind of just go out there and ball. And I actually think that ends up being a positive thing for any new blood coming into the scene. Because if you have the mindset that the person across from you is not TSM Imperial Hal, it's just another person playing whichever legend, then I think that ends up helping you, because then you're not looking at it as, so like you're not looking, look so deeply into it. Like you said earlier, you're not taking it so seriously that you're taking out, your part in it as well. So I actually think that ends up benefiting you guys in the long run if if you guys maintain that attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're just doing our thing. Like I think that's the best way to put it. Like we're not double thinking, we're not doubting, we're not anxious about how we're going to perform. We're just doing our thing. And if we lose, at least we lost doing our thing, So yeah, I don't know. Like why switch anything up? It like us acting like this and being like how we were helped us make PL. It's best thing we could say is it's going to help us get through PL.
it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Plus, like I said, like it's still a game at the end of the day, right? So we're still trying to enjoy it.
Especially in the
And
BR,
I think thinking like that helps a
it's a
lot.
lot different. You know, a lot of things, a lot of situations happen that you don't know about. And that's how I think about it. You know, like even that last PSQ game. You know, like other teams fighting other teams. You know, and we're just putting ourselves in a good spot. When not, like you may see someone thirding someone and you just take their spot. You know, and they just lost their god spot basically. You know, obviously pro league teams are not going to be doing that, but that like especially in like PSQ, people do dumb stuff like that in tier two, but you know that's just how it is, and that's how I think about it.
Speaking of last game of PSQ, how much did y'all pay that Rampart?
Oh, bro,
Oh, that was actually unreal.
I
That
never
was
seen
actually
that.
unreal. I
How
remember
much
watching,
did
like
y'all
I
pay that
remember like
Rampart?
feeling. I remember sitting there watching you kill her, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened? Like, what was that?"
Yeah.
I was actually. I think you could hear me on the stream, like, "What the fuck?" That was so crazy.
Who killed it?
That
Who
was
killed the
so
Rampart?
crazy. It was Spade.
It's
Spade
me.
killed the Rampart.
I killed. Okay,
That was so
I killed
unreal.
two.
Like we also
I killed 2 out of 3
that
of that team. The Loba went to go third us while we're fighting the Wraith. Actually, the Wraith knocked Addy, and then the Wraith ended up knocking Cloaked. And I went back to go. I heard someone like flanking me, um, and it was the Loba. I had her 50 flesh. I went to go chase her. She crawled underneath the building. I knocked her, finished her, went back inside the building, and then that's when the Rampart picked me in the tunnel with her like a little Sheila, you know, just hopping out, and I just hit her with that wingman. I mean, especially in a tight hallway like that, you're not gonna miss any shots with the wingman.
I also should probably I feel like it was worth mentioning, like even though that team was questionable about making finals.
It was me. I was on that.
It kind of
I'm just
I
kidding.
think they kind of showed something. I think they kind of showed about how crazy like playing placement goes for you. Like that team played placement, I think, all their games during LGS, and they made finals. Like they consistent, and we were watching them too. Like because they landed at, I believe they landed at Cascades. And one thing I pointed out was like they were leaving immediately and going to zone, and they just consistently win zone over and over. And if they were doing that like beforehand, like that's what got them to finals. So like I can only imagine like a team that implements that but is mechanically better,
Exactly.
how much
That's a
further
good way
they
to
could get.
describe.
Yeah, I think a team that actually does that like really good is SK2.
Yeah.
They go into zone like immediately. Like and I think it's one of the biggest reasons why they always make finals, not only because they're mechanically like really great, but just always going zone
Putting
over and over
himself
and
in a
over.
good
So
spot.
it's a very big thing. Like a lot of the players should write down and take to their heads is going zone like really really pays off if you're doing it all the time and you take the time to learn where zone pulls go.
You got any more?
I can go ahead with the standard last one.
Yeah,
if
hit
you're
'em with
good.
it.
All right, guys. So everybody that we have on the show is performing in the top 1%, and you guys, as pro league players, definitely fit the bill for that. And so, what is something that you guys have learned along the journey that's allowed you guys to get to the point where you guys are at, that somebody could take and apply to any area of their life that they're trying to get into the top 1% in?
I think for me personally, what has helped me is one, my faith, you know, in God and whatnot. That has benefited me a lot in the last, let's say, 6 years. But after that, like I would just say, just keep persevering. You know, persevere through the hardships that you go through in life. And just putting that time in. Just don't throw in that towel. I think that's the biggest thing. If you throw in that towel, then you just gave up on yourself, and you just you're basically canceling your blessing at the end of the day. You know, like there's so many blessings ahead of your life, and you're in the path of your journey. And I think that's the biggest thing that helped me mentally, physically as well, but more so mentally, and just keep pursuing and just keep persevering in what I do and just put the time in. We have such small minds, as you know, so like you getting that outside perspective of what, you know, others see you, or you know, it really helped me in the long run stuff.
I think I think persistency is a very big thing. You can't be persistency and just pure will to want to win. Um, there's been a lot of times where I've just wanted to quit, and like I've said, I was quitting, and I still pushed through it, and it paid off at the end. But I think the biggest thing about it for anyone who wants to be part of the 1%, whether it's Apex or anything else, I think it's a more so like you issue. You know whether you're worth being at the top or not. Um, I could give you all the tips or like recommendations in the world, but at the end of the day, it's like a mental battle that you got to have with yourself and prepare yourself for. Like, it doesn't matter if I even give you like the formula to being successful. If you're not the type of person who's going to commit and get through it, you're never going to achieve it. Um, I think a big thing is envisioning yourself at the top. I know it's cliche, but if you can't believe in yourself, you're not going to get anywhere. And it's just that simple. If I didn't believe in myself, I don't think I would have gotten here. Like 100% don't think I would have gotten here. I've like consistently seen myself at the top, like envisioned it. Um, Sort of what's the word? Um, Damn, I forgot the word. But like became it, Like I became what I saw myself as being.
Like you envision being in the wherever you
Yeah,
want
there's
to
like
be.
there's a word for it. I forgot. I can't think of it right now. But like I like took it on and I made it a reality.
Yeah,
Cloaks?
and kind of going back to what Addy was saying about persistency and just having that mindset, at the same time of like you having to imagine and believe in yourself to be in that top 1%, you can't let your ego get the best of you, and you have to be humble sometimes. You
Absolutely.
have to take criticism. You just have to be open-minded about it.
I think what Cloak said, open minded, and being free to let ideas come in is going to help you massively, because you're going to figure out that some ideas that you just randomly learn are going to be better than the ones you came up with. So that's definitely like a huge part, 100%.
That's good.
Are
That's
good
awesome
stuff.
stuff right there, boys.
Okay, so one last question that because I don't think we asked you guys at the beginning, but it's like you guys are just made Pro League. Aside from doing Pro League, what else do you guys have going on? Like, what do your guys' lives look like, and are you guys looking forward to hopefully at some point making the transition to becoming signed players in the hopefully not so distant future?
Honestly, dude, like I'm just committed to this, I'm just committed to what I have now in front of me. And I'm gonna put like all my time into this, and I don't have nothing else in my life that I wouldn't say deserve that attention, but that has my eye for that. So I'm just gonna be putting this time in now, and see where it goes, and I just pray for the best, and I just know us three together, if we stay mentally there, like we're gonna see success. I believe in my heart that we will see success if we stick together, and like I said earlier, persevere. Perseverance is really what keeps me going. So that's me.
Yeah, and then for me, I'm still in high school. Like, I try to put as much time into the game as I can with still being on track and just focus on school at the same time. So I'm trying my hardest to just balance both of them and
That's
just
respectable
get through it.
for sure.
We
Sorry, what's up?
I was just gonna go off of Cloaks real quick. We definitely flubbed this because Cloak was sitting over there in the corner being all quiet. When we
Yeah.
bring you back on, we're gonna have to talk about that because I think is he the first one we've had like in high school at the time?
Zainu.
Oh,
I
Zion.
Was
think
he
I
was
don't know.
Wasn't he being
I don't know if he was
homeschooled?
still doing. I don't know.
I
I
definitely want
don't
to talk
remember
about
if he was.
that at
I
some
don't
point.
know.
But what you're doing right now is insane, and I hope you keep your grades up and do well in school. Do the best you
Yes,
can.
sir. Yes, sir.
That's funny.
Addy.
Um, I mean, there's definitely things I want to do like after gaming. I don't just want to game all my life, but really making it to Pro League as an Apex player has been like a dream of mine for so long, and I definitely just don't want to give it all up anytime soon. So I think for now it's safe to say that 100% of my time and commitment is towards being the best I can be for PL and being the best I can be for my team.
All right, well that's
Fire.
beautiful stuff. That's beautiful stuff. And if you guys aren't going to make the content for it, we'll just keep popping out these interviews, and then that'll just be the content all on its own. You know, you guys don't even have to worry about it. Especially talking about the Rampart who was just walking around cluelessly.
Yeah.
We'll put a clip up. We'll have the
Yeah.
clip up. No, this has been awesome, guys. I wasn't sure how it was going to go with 3 people all at once, but this has been a great time, and I honestly cannot wait to see you guys coming up here in Pro League. Like, this should be a really fun time. I'm excited to see you guys chow, and I want to see how that thing goes. So thank you guys for hopping on. It's been a pleasure having you guys, and hopefully by the end of this, we're not just making Pro League. No, we're not just making LAN. No, we're hoisting that trophy up. Hopefully that is where we're at by the end of this whole journey. Thank you guys for hopping on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the.
Of course, thank you
thanks
for having us.
Appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Here we are, ladies and gents. It is heart to heart time. Heart to heart time. E, how are you feeling, dude?
I'm tired and I'm thankful and I'm ready for the grind. Like, I'm ready to like get back to like work and just be able to put in the work and just show up and bring the best that I can, like bring the best that I have to offer, and then just let that be the thing that I focus on, and just focus on that outside of the numbers that are associated with it, and just solely and purely just be focused on the art of doing the craft for the sake of doing the craft. And then, because like all the other stuff shouldn't matter. And so I'm excited to get back to it. I'm excited to have that be my focus, and to really just do the best that I can do for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you?
There we go, dude. I heart to heart this week. Yeah, I just want to do a little bit more on my end. Something that was said in the interview by Addy was, a lot of times when you think you're trying to get to that 1%, it's not the things around you, it's you. And I remember when I first started this podcast grind, I was putting out clips. I accumulated a bunch of followers like on TikTok and stuff, and then I just got mad at the platform and just stopped making videos. And I used to really enjoy it. Like, I actually really enjoyed it, and it was just their rules and stuff that pissed me off. And I think to myself, like, what if I would have just kept making them, even if like things fell off a cliff and like the views weren't there and all that? Like, you can't tell me that I still wouldn't have gained a few more listeners here and there. So I just want to get back to that, and just like, instead of looking at the numbers so much, just remember, like, I enjoyed doing it when nobody was looking at it. Like, then all of a sudden people started looking at it, and I thought I had to go higher and higher and higher and higher. And it was like, dude, like, it was just fun. Like, I forgot how much fun I used to have just sitting there and just like trying to make things funny and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to get back to that. And I think so many of these guys we bring on the show like have good personalities, and they have funny moments that, you know, I could be like putting my own little flair on the videos for. And so for me, I just want to make sure I actually like get back into doing what I enjoyed and not worrying so much about how many other people are going to enjoy it, and just do it because I like it. So that's kind of what I want to do again. Just get back to that and just keep doing it. Like, you know, have fun again is basically where I want to be at. And so that's where I'm at right now. But that's my heart to heart, man. I know, dude, you're so tired. Your eyes glossed over. You're zoned out. You're gone. It's just 9 hours. Was it 9 hours?
Yeah, something like that.
Good
Nine-ish.
God.
I mean, with like stops, but like, yeah.
There we go.
It wasn't that bad. Really,
Okay.
it's not,
It
but I mean,
sounds
I'm a little
tough.
tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I
That's
mean, like realistically speaking, it wasn't that bad, because when I was driving out, I did the 24-hour. I took a half-hour nap, and then I like packed the car up, and then I drove for like 5 or 6, and then I slept for a little bit.
Yeah.
It was good. So I always say like getting actual sleep before going on the drive way better than doing a 24-hour and then starting the road trip.
Yeah.
Either
All right,
way,
well,
I
you
want to
got-
go to bed.
Yeah, we got to
Good
get you to
night.
bed.
Hope
We
you
got-
guys had a great. I hope you guys enjoyed the pod,
Yeah.
and we will see y'all next week.
There we go. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for tuning in. See.